Howdy folks, and welcome to my 5,000 mile review of the Schuberth C3 Pro helmet. I've been using this helmet for the past 5,000 miles on all my rides. This helmet's been along with me on quick trips around town as well as long distance rides where I'm on the bike for 14 hours a day. I've been in this helmet in pouring rain and 30-some degrees. And I've been in this helmet on a beautiful sunny day where the thermometer crosses 100, and that's in Fahrenheit. So on the Celsius scale, somewhere around 4 degrees Celsius, all the way past 40. And so I've had lots of opportunities to gain some impressions, ownership impressions of this helmet that I want to share with you all today. Bottom line on this helmet is it is a fantastic helmet. You know, this was a few short years ago the world-class modular helmet on the market, and I believe it still belongs in that category. Does it hold the crown any longer? I'm not sure, but it has been a fantastic helmet, particularly for my application, and so I'll tell you all about it here in a second. Alright, so Schuberth C3 Pro, you probably, if you're watching this video, already know a little bit about the helmet. Obviously it's modular, it's got Schuberth's quality, it also has Schuberth sizing, and I think that's really important about comfort in the helmet. So let me start off with that, is I have a Schuberth head, and what that means is my head is somewhere between oval and round oval, you know, kind of that in-between area, kind of neutral, I guess is what it's called. And man, this helmet fits me spot on. If you have a long head, long oval head, then you know what, this might be uncomfortable for you. If you have a super round head, I think you might still get away with it. But if you're in that kind of in-between area, then man, this is the helmet for you. So I think that sizing is really, really important for comfort, and let me point that out. Second thing is, yes, this helmet is quiet. Some people say you don't need earplugs. Well, it depends on what application you ride it. I ride this on a naked bike, no windshield whatsoever, yeah, you still need earplugs on the highway. You know, you obviously want to take care of your hearing, but it does a really good job of noise management. Another thing I think is important to point out is ventilation. Lots of folks complain that, man, this helmet is hot. Yes and no. This helmet is very well sealed. I mean, impressively well sealed. And so you have to work with the ventilation depending on the outside temperature and what environment you ride in. Particularly if you're riding with a windscreen and you're riding at city speeds, then yes, there will not be enough airflow around the helmet to really effectively cool you down with the visor closed. And so you're going to have to probably ride what even Schuberth in the description calls the city position, which is this right here, having it cracked open by one step in order to be able to get air in there. Because you will actually start feeling like you're running out of oxygen if you're in town, particularly parked at a stoplight with the whole thing closed up. Yeah, this thing is really well sealed, and so you're going to have a hard time breathing. And so I think it's something to be aware of. Now, I said I rode this in a 100-degree day in sunshine. Is it unbearable? No. I picked it with a white top for that purpose, and it's generally speaking a fairly bright color, as you can see. Yes, would I have taken it in matte black? Hell no. I knew that I wanted to have some reflective ability on this helmet, so I went with these colors, you know, at least some cooling effect from the colorway. So I went with these colors on purpose. But it is perfectly adequate when you're on the highway and it's a 100-degree day. You open up the top vent, which opens up here. You open up the front vent, and you get a decent amount of airflow. You know, I can't complain. Was it super cool? No. Did I completely overheat my head and want to faint on the bike? Absolutely not. I was perfectly comfortable. So I think the ventilation might not be exquisite, but it's decent. And if you pick the right colorway, the helmet does its job. And really, this might be the theme of this helmet. Is, man, this helmet just does its job. You get your money's worth out of this helmet. Let me what else can I tell you guys? Well, let's talk about a couple of things that in the ownership experience that I realized. So one thing is this vent here in front, right? It has kind of a weird mechanism. It's a very light indentation. It goes back and forth between closing up this vent and opening it up. And so you may, by accident, actually sometimes close it. And so be aware of that. And, you know, check every once in a while. If you start feeling like, hey, man, it's getting hot and I can't really breathe very well, then check, make sure this is open, because you might accidentally have flipped it the other way. This bike, I mean, sorry, this bike, this helmet comes with the pin lock. Pin lock's a pain in the butt to install on this helmet. I've struggled with it, and I actually come to the point where I scratched up the visor on the inside installing the pin lock, which is a little bit annoying, but that's user error. But I will tell you, I actually keep the pin lock in permanently now because this helmet is so well sealed. You will fog up really quickly in this helmet. And so in order to prevent that, and particularly if you're in the rain, you don't want to be popping off open the visor all the whole time, or you're riding in the rain in the city. So I actually keep the pin lock in permanently. Is that little outline of the pin lock a little annoying? Yeah, sure, it is. Is it unbearable? No. You get used to it after a little bit. And so, yeah, the pin lock's not perfect, but it's necessary. Once again, it goes back to how well this kind of helmet is constructed and how well this helmet seals. What else can I tell you? Oh, a real interesting quirk regarding, or two things regarding the sun visor that's built in. And there has this built-in sun visor. There's a little slider right here on the side. You go, and the sun visor comes down. I just realized I need to clean mine. So, on the sun visor, two things. Number one, great visibility, good protection. You don't have this gap, on the bottom. Sometimes with the sun visor, you have this gap where the light still comes in. Here, it comes down just the right distance, so it works really, really well. Great optical clarity on the sun visor as well, obviously, when you clean it. But hey, this is a 5,000-mile review, right? So it's a used helmet. So I think that's really good. But what I've realized is from the front vent, the air flow out is right here. So it essentially flows air right into your face, I guess, in front of your eyes, kind of a fresh air curtain in front of your eyes. It works really well. It actually provides a really nice cooling effect. But when the visor is down, and you can maybe tell that visor goes behind where the air goes, that actually gets limited. And so the helmet feels hotter with the visor down than with on the internal sun visor down than with the sun visor up, which is kind of odd, right? Because you're using the sun visor when it's sunny outside, and so you're probably looking for maximum cooling. But somehow in the design of this thing, that maybe wasn't really fully considered. It's not a huge difference, but you can feel it. Is it a deal breaker? No. Is it something to be aware of? Sure. Speaking of optical clarity, by the way, the optical clarity of the face shield and of the pin lock is absolutely fantastic, and so no concerns there whatsoever. It works flawlessly, and as long as the visor's clean, I mean your vision is fantastic. One more thing about this little slider here, where you do your visor, as you can tell, this is a used helmet. I actually scratched it up here a little bit. The location of the sun visor mechanism forces you to install your comm system further back than you'd naturally like to have it. So it's kind of behind your ear, which makes it a little bit awkward sometimes to operate. You get used to it, but I think it's something to be aware of. The other thing is that because this thing is so tight, I actually found no good way to run the cables from the comm system underneath those cheek pads, right, and through the internal guts. I actually had to run them on the outside. Now, luckily, because of all the padding that's there, you won't really feel it. It doesn't really have any comfort disadvantages. But yeah, I initially tried to make that work, and I was more worried about cutting the wires, so I'm just running them from the outside. The other thing about comm systems is that because this thing is so tight, I couldn't make the screw-on mount work. I actually had to use the sticky mount, which isn't perfect, as you can probably tell. I don't know if you can see that here. And I'll move this around a little bit. Maybe you can get some angles. It's not really a perfect fit. And this thing, therefore, creates quite a bit of wind noise, actually, when it's on there. And so if you're not using Schuberth's proprietary system that's designed to fit perfectly with the helmets, and you're trying to use your aftermarket thing, well, it might not fit perfectly. And I guess that's why they try to get an extra few dollars out of you. But is that a huge problem? No, I learned to live with it, and it works just fine. And when I wear earplugs, I can't hear the extra wind noise anyways. And so, yeah, this is a really, really great helmet. But here's my absolutely favorite feature of this. And this is, I think, why this helmet is still in the market, even though the C4 and now the C4 Pro have come out, and why the C3 is still around. The aerodynamics of this helmet are freaking fantastic, pardon my language. Absolutely fantastic. Once again, I ride a naked bike. Let me take a step back real quick. I ride this Moto Guzzi. There's a little bikini fairing on there, but that really doesn't provide any type of wind protection on the head. And I'm in South Texas, and it's always windy down here. Actually, except for today, for some reason, I don't get a really good cooling breeze. But usually it blows at least 15 miles an hour, and 35 mile an hour winds are pretty normal around here. And so, you know, with previous helmets that I've used, I was always, on a very windy day, I was always worried, like, man, I'm going to have my head whipped around, and, you know, it catches dirty air and all that stuff. And that makes it less fun to ride, particularly on longer rides. It's really, really tiring. Not with this guy. Oh my God, this thing is aerodynamically so fabulous. I mean, you cannot tell side winds, nose winds, turbulence coming off the trucks is really not much of an issue anymore. I mean, this thing just sits so calmly in the wind stream that it escalates your comfort level and your enjoyment of riding amazingly. I mean, I don't know how to put it in words. Complete game changer for me. I am absolutely in love with this helmet. So if you are on a naked bike, then you should definitely look at a C3 Pro if you're considering a modular helmet. Now, if you are on a bike that has windscreen and fairing, they actually say, Schuberth says, that they designed this C4 with you in mind. It has a slightly different design, supposedly it has better ventilation. It's just designed to work around a fairing. Now, I don't have a way to compare the two. I haven't played with a C4 Pro to give you guys a back-and-back review. But honestly, I have no motivation to do so because this thing is so excellent. And so, that being said, complete 2 thumbs up for the Schuberth C3 Pro. You know, it's not a cheap helmet, but you can find it sometimes on sales. I actually got a great sale on this. I think I paid something like $350 for the helmet, which is an absolute steal for the quality that you get. And so I do recommend this helmet. And if you want to check out the different colorways, so by the way, this is the colorway that I got. This is kind of like a fluo orange, fluo red, fluo orange with white and black. I think it looks pretty cool. But there's lots and lots of colorways on the C3 Pro, from solid colors all the way to different graphics and designs. There's a link below in the description to a retailer's website where you can see these different colorways and these different models on this. If you have any questions, additional questions on stuff that didn't cover about this helmet, reflectivities, for example, there's, you know, address this real quick. There's reflectivity right here. There's reflectivity right there. There's reflectivity down here on the bottom. On this helmet, there's actually also really good. But if there's any other questions that you might have about this helmet, please ask below in the comments. Or if you have any comments yourself, experiences with this helmet, please feel free to do so as well down in the comments below. If you like this content, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I will truly appreciate that. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please be so kind to subscribe. And I look forward to making more informative videos for y'all. Hope this was helpful to you. Thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day.